What can I say? Thorfinn can't take these guns. Uh, Hey there guys, this is MicMix, and welcome to another Vinland Saga Manga review. This chapter came out of nowhere. I was expecting it to come out around the 28th, 27th of December, but it came out really early. I have a lot of interesting things to talk about. The timestamps are these. I don't know where I'm going to put the visual. Anyway, yeah. So, what happened was we had a new chapter. We're continuing post time skip, and we have the preparations for the trip. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I was expecting them to start recruiting people, and I was expecting some new faces, some new characters to join the group, and they did. So we're gonna talk about this new guy, Halvor, I think, Halvor, that appears at the very end of the chapter. Who is Halvor? What is his deal? Why he has come to meet Thorfinn? What will he be his role in the group? Let's begin with the very first panels. And we have Thorfinn talking to a bunch of villagers. He explains his plan. He's been very, very, very upfront with what they're going to do. They're essentially crossing the sea to go to this remote land that no one has ever been to. And he's kind of awkward about it. And Gudrid mentions this, like, you look like a weirdo, like, and he does look very, very weird. But he's not very used to talking to a lot of people. He's not a speaker. He's not a king or a politician or whatever. So that makes sense. And what he mentions is that we will not take any weapons with us in Vinland, which is something that it was implied in like previous chapters, but now they're actually forcing people not to take any weapons. And of course that's going to be a huge deal because Northerners love their swords and their weapons. So that's the very first part of the chapter. It's just Thorfinn talking about the plan, talking about the trip. And now we're moving to the second part of the chapter, which is a very short part, but I think it's very, very interesting and very crucial. An ominous foreshadowing, where you have two farmers. They're both working for a Halfdan's farm or fields. And the one farmer is like, well, there's this guy Thorfinn and he wants to go to Vinland, let's join him. But we can't take any weapons. And then the other guy's like, well, I'm gonna kill Halfdan one of these days. He's really angry. He's probably his field was taken by Halfdan. And he mentions how, the sword is the soul of the warrior. You cannot take that away. So Thorfinn, he's crazy. That dude is crazy. And that's where the conversation ends, pretty much. And this page, these panels, they foreshadow a bunch of things, actually. Number one, they do foreshadow a crisis or a mutiny in the Halfdan's farm. They foreshadow that maybe before Thorfinn leaves Iceland, there's going to be some huge riot or uprising. Maybe Halfdan's farm will burn. And maybe the people that are going to be affected by this will perhaps rush and join Thorfinn because they have nowhere else to go. The farm is burned, and there's a bunch of like angry Northerners running around. But there's another possibility, actually two possibilities. it could foreshadow that someone will smuggle in weapons into the ship that Thorfinn will use to go to Vinland. It could foreshadow that some Northerners will not leave their weapons behind, and this could lead to a lot of issues when they get to Vinland. Because can you imagine the settlers discovering that a group of people have weapons and they don't? There could be a split between the settlers. And the third foreshadowing is that in the case that indeed there are no weapons aboard the ships, and the settlers do arrive in Vinland without any sort of equipment, any weapons, that could foreshadow that they might actually need them. It could foreshadow that there's going to be a moment in the story when they could really use some weapons, maybe because the natives are very aggressive and very hostile, and they just need the weapons to defend themselves. They can't even defend themselves. So, and then everyone will turn to Thorfinn and go, hey, it's your fault. You forced us into not, bringing weapons with us. You're to blame. So again, there could be a split or a clash between the group. So this almost insignificant page could foreshadow a lot of things. That could mean a lot of things in the long run. And this also could be used to clash with Thorfinn's ideology. It could prove that, yes, you do need weapons. Weapons are tools. Tools to defend yourself. They're not always meant for war. Okay, moving on now to the final chunk, the final part of this chapter, which is our characters having this conversation around the campfire or around the fireplace, and they talk about a bunch of stuff. They do mention of a small adventure they had back in Constantinople, back in Greece, which I don't know why, the one panel that Yukimura has drawn, it looks like freaking Agrabah for some reason. It does not look like Constantinople. Everyone's wearing Middle Eastern outfits. Where are all the Byzantine outfits? Where are all the Eastern European outfits? However, they could be in an Arabian market, but still, come on, Yukimura, draw a little bit of Constantinople. The Great Wall to Constantinople, the Hagia Sophia. She could have given us something. Anyway, and they do mention how something happened there, and apparently they made some either gesture or they mentioned something that insulted the merchants, and they ended up in jail, which could also explain Thorfinn's scar right here, because that's a brand new scar. He didn't have that before the trip to Greece. Anyway, and there's this interesting conversation about, how things that can be considered weapons, like a spear or Hild's crossbow, they're not necessarily evil. How you can drive away a bear or a wolf with a spear, or how the crossbow can be used for hunting if you do need food. Which it's an interesting, perspective into Thorfinn's ideology that, yeah, weapons are not that bad, What can I say? Thorfinn can't take these guns. What happens next is, and I think this is the most talked about event in this chapter, is someone knocks on the door. Thorfinn's mother, who is alive, by the way, her name is Helga, I think. I thought she was dead because she had not appeared in any of the post-time skip chapters. She goes, answers the door, and sees this little face hiding behind the building, whatever. And she's like, "What do you want?" "I want Thorfinn. I've been told about this guy, Thorfinn. Show me." And Thorfinn arrives, and then this is so comedic. You have this huge massive dude who appears, and he's like, "Hi, Thorfinn. My name is Halvor." And the chapter ends with an interesting exchange between Thorfinn and his mother. Thorfinn says, "He looks familiar to me," and then Thorfinn's mother is like, "Well, he looks familiar as well." Okay. So there has been this whole talk about who is Halvor. Halvor. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Halvor. Who is this guy? My initial reaction was, this guy is one of these kids that Thorfinn beat up. Remember, like way back in the first chapters, I think it was in the third or fourth chapter of Vinland Saga, when Thorfinn was playing war with with other kids using wooden swords. So I thought, for Thorfinn's mom to remember him or to look familiar to him, he has to be someone from Thorfinn's childhood that she would also remember. So I went back and read these chapters, and I didn't find any character who looked like that. And then it dawned on me, this guy is Thorkel's son. I mean, it is pretty obvious. I mean, he's one of the tallest characters we've seen in the series, and Halvor, again, he is perhaps the second tallest character in the series. He has the jaw that Thorkel has, that signature jaw, and it would also explain why Thorfinn's mother knows him, because Thorfinn's mother is Thorkel's. Wait a minute, Thorkel's sister? No, it's Thorkel's niece. So Thorfinn's mother is Thorkel's niece. So obviously she remembers how huge and powerful Thorkel was, and she kind of sees an element of that into Halvor. That's who I think he is. He's Thorkel's son, and there's a really fun aspect to it because he seems so timid and so peaceful, and he doesn't want to disturb people or cause any, he doesn't want to annoy people or whatever. And this is the exact opposite of Thorkel, who was this all-out warrior who wouldn't care about anything else other than war. So that's a very interesting perspective. Now, as to what kind of role could Halvor fulfill in the group? In the beginning, I was like, you know what? I don't like that. Are we gonna have this goofy, comedic character again? We have a goofy comedic character. His name is Bug Eyes. He's pretty damn good when it comes to comedic effect. We also have Carly and Gudrid that can be comedic. But then I thought, no, because this guy could be the emotional center of the series, of the group. What do I mean? This character does seem to be a gentle giant when it comes to as a character profile. He seems to be a very powerful dude who could wreck you if he wanted to, but he does not like war or violence or anything. He seems very considerate, very kind. So I could see this character bonding with other characters, maybe taking care of them. And his physical strength could be very useful back in when they do get to Vinland, because they will need someone to prepare the fields, to plow the fields. So maybe he can do that on his own, because he's so powerful. He could dig really fast, or he could chop down many trees and carry huge logs on his back. So he can make everything faster for them. He can, I can already imagine him, carrying huge logs and being like, "Hey guys, am I being helpful?" Like, now that I think about it, he would be so funny if he had like Butters' voice from South Park. Yeah, so he could be very useful. Now that I think about it, he could carry stuff. He could carry some characters because I mentioned back in my like previous video, Leif cannot really run. So maybe if our heroes need to make a run to the ships, he's the one that picks up Leif and starts running. Or if someone is wounded, if Einar or Thorfinn is wounded and someone needs to carry him, he can easily do that. Later on in the series, he could actually evolve into a Thorkel type of character. It would be so fun to see him like snap and go, "I will destroy these natives" or whatever. This would be the funniest thing ever. And the final thing that he could do is that maybe he could actually play a more emotional role. Because in many stories, the character who bites the dust is the character who is, the most emotional and the one to elicit more of a response from the other members. So I could totally see Halvor, whatever his name is, bonding with these characters and bonding with the audience, only to then be axed off. So we could have this super emotional breakdown, like, oh my god, he was this kind, considerate little guy. Why did you do this? Yeah, actually, if I had to do like a death predictions, Halvor is like 70%. He's like really high up. Yeah. Now, as for his backstory, I don't really want to speculate because I am certain that he will explain everything in the next chapter. I do believe that he's going to explain like how did he hear about Thorfinn, and then potentially about who he is, where does he come from. Yeah, that's gonna be so interesting. I just don't want to speculate because I know I'll be wrong. We don't know where does he come from. I think he's a nice addition, and it's so weird because when was the last time we had a good addition to the team? It was back with Gudrid. That's like chapter 100. Yeah. Not even. Yeah. So he seems like a good addition. I like Halvor. And this is the thing. I've been talking about Hild. Hild is such an interesting character, but she elicits no emotion from me. Like I do not care about her because she's so cold and calm and collected, whereas Halvor is like so kind and considerate. So seeing a person like him die or suffer or be abandoned or see his life be threatened, I would really get emotional, So he serves a practical purpose for to the narrative. He can carry stuff. He can help them build houses or whatever. And he also has a narrative purpose in the story, perhaps the emotional center of the story. The Vinland Saga anime is ending, but that does not mean I will stop making Vinland Saga videos. I will continue making these chapter reviews, and I will make more like manga analysis videos into the future. I have a lot of topics, and I will make another poll for you to choose. Which topic do you prefer? Yeah. So, see you in my next Vinland Saga video, guys, and comment below what did you think about Halvor. What do you think? What is his role gonna be? And what is gonna happen in the next chapters? Who knows? Maybe there's an uprising. Maybe there's another time skip. We jump right to the date that the ships will set sail. Who knows? I want to hear your opinions, and if you want to see more Vinland Saga content, check out here or here. Again, I don't know. Yeah, if you want to see more Vinland Saga content, check out here. Hit like and smash the subscribe button. See you next time.